going to do another insight video today. So a lot of the videos I seem to be receiving at the moment, or the information, or sort of like, yeah, the guidance is around like the third dimensional reality, and it's very much around like 3D and 5D. And this has been sort of like played out within my own sort of guidance and my own experience within life. So like this morning I was down the gym, and the gym seems to be like this place where spirit and guide, the spirit and guides very much connect with me, because like I go and usually do like a couple of hours in the gym, and I go for a run. I obviously do the weights, but I tend to try and leave my earphones out so I can just sort of like get into a space in between sort of sets and things like that. And it tends to be like the more I do this, the more I get in like a deeper state, and I seem to be receiving more and more. And especially when I sort of like go for a run on the treadmill for a little while, it tends to sort of like open up again, because it's like this space where you're focused into something and you're opened up, and it seems to be allows things to start to flow. So as I was sitting there today in the gym, I was getting just having a space in this space, and I was just sort of like opening up, and I was just connecting into the information, and I was very much sort of connecting to 3D and 5D reality. And sort of like the 3D reality is very much like I say, the external, or the outer sort of like the outer world, and how this is like this distracts us, and we're very much sort of the object world, where we're distracted by many things like money, jobs, fear, doubt, all those kind of things, and they're all 3D realities, but they can't exist in a 5D reality, is what they were discussing with me today. They don't exist in a 5D reality, and you they don't mold, they don't integrate. 3D and 5D are not the same frequency at all, and they don't integrate, they can't resonate on any kind of like level. So this was like from questions in my own head like today, because I have moments where I'm like really connected. I'm very much in 5D. I feel like I'm in 5D. I'm very much connected in my job. You know, when I'm at my work and stuff like that, and I'm like this inner sort of world, and I'm connected to this inner light, this lovely frequency where it's balance, it's harmony, it's peace, it trust, it does all those kind of things that the 5D reality does. But then I'm shifting to this 3D reality where I start to get doubts, I get fears, I get worries, I get anxieties, I get stress, and then I shift into it again. It's like, so I'm in this like 5D reality within my own energy field, and then it's like I sucked out into the outer world again. And this is some of this is from like my mind, from my ego, from my fears, my worries, my doubts. But it's like I'm creating that 3D reality, that 3D blueprint, when I start going back to those kind of fears. And this is what they're saying to me, that you're creating it. It's a choice you're making. No, it's like, because I was, you know, I have moments where the guides and the energies are around me, and they're with me, and then I feel like they're there. But they're saying that when you don't feel like we're there, and it's when you've gone dormant, it's when you've again, you've gone out into that 3D reality. So they don't live in that 3D reality, they live in a 5D reality, which is like a completely different frequency. And they don't resonate in that frequency. And this is what I was trying to, this is the lesson they were trying to get through, like with 5D reality and 3D, they're not the same, they don't resonate with each other. So the thing is, it's like, if you're remaining in 3D, that's your reality. But that's a reality of fear, doubt, worry, stress. It's all the things outside in the outer world, that they're all the things that you can't control, and that you're getting caught up in, and you're being directed to. And this is what they're saying. They're saying that's the 3D reality, but that's the old frequency. That's not who you are. That's not your nature. That's not your infinite being. You and that 3D reality, when you really go within yourself and you go into the 5D reality, it it dissolves it. It dissolves 3D, because 3D cannot exist on that. So all that's left is like 5D, which is being in spirit, being in source, being in light, being in energy, being balance, being in love, being in truth, being in honesty. All those kind of things, that those higher vibrations, they're not in the 3D outer world. So if you're in that, you're not in 5D, you're in 3D. If you're worrying about something, if you're fearing something, if you're stressed, you're anxious, you're in 3D. So it's like you're in the outer world, and what you need to do is go back into the inner world to become connected to source, and connected to your energy, connected to your vibration, your frequency, because that's the only place you can co-create, is within the inner world on 5D. This is what they're saying to me. The outer world in 3D, you don't create. You're being distracted. You're being you're being sort of taken to places, and you also don't connect to your source energy, and you don't connect to your spirits and your guides from that place of 3D, only in 5D. Because in 5D, that's where you enter into the spirit, your spiritual energy, your spiritual vibration, your center, your spiritual center. You open up to your soul, you open up to your spiritual energy, your infinite being, and that's when you start to connect with the guides, the angels, the masters, all these spiritual guides that you're looking for. So people, in that sense of what they're saying to me, makes me think that for years many people have been connecting with their guides. They've been connected to 5D for a long time. The difference is now at this planet at the moment is 5D is open to everybody. So it's a choice, and it's for you to start to shift from your 3D reality to the 5D. I mean, I've got it at the moment. I'm sitting there and I've just applied for a new job at work, and you know, the first thing that comes in, there's worries, there's doubts, there's fears around that. And the first thing that comes in is trust. Is trust. The problem is that's what you do straight away. Because if you start doubting and you don't trust, then you become disconnected, then you become dormant again, then you feel alone. And that's what the 3D reality does, and that's what the guides are saying. You're not alone, but you're actually, by entering that reality and fearing and doubting and being in that kind of frequency, is when you disconnect from your true nature, from yourself, from the true you, and then before you know it, you are then you are sort of like in that frequency again. So you become dormant, you become closed down, and this is what they're saying to me. So this is the communication I had today. So this is what they're saying. They're saying that you, by going into 5D reality, which is the inner world, you dissolve the 3D reality because it cannot exist there. So it's about taking more and more time to go into that inner world and connect into that 5D reality and live it and breathe it and vibrate at it. And when you vibrate at it, that's when you start to come into the co-creation. And this is also where, you know, this can link straight into, again, the Ascended Masters and the universal laws. All of that opens up, that knowledge, that wisdom becomes open to you. It becomes available to you when you go into that 5D reality. In the 3D reality, it is not, because it doesn't resonate there. It doesn't exist there. It doesn't. That frequency, the spirit world, and all that infinite knowledge, that infinite being, your infinite source, your infinite energy, doesn't exist in the 3D reality. You know, so it's about moving past that, and that's a lesson that they keep giving me. They keep saying, look, we've shown you, we've told you. You know, you see it, you know what you should be doing, and it's about then using that wisdom, that living that wisdom. You know, I've been drawn to like Native Americans, and well, not necessarily Native Americans, but I've had a real thing lately where I've just been drawn to sort of like Vikings and sort of like Viking songs and stuff like that. And I don't know where that's come from, but I feel like I've been drawn to it and like listening to the drums and stuff like that. So they're like, there's a shift, there's a change, there's a shift in the beat and the cycle of life. You know what I mean? And I feel that's what they're saying as well. I mean, you've got to laugh about it, but I mean also, I mean the other thing that they said to me lately is that like the way we talk, or the way we sort of like look at ourselves sometimes, it closes us down straight away. I mean, they said this to me last. I think I said this in a reading yesterday. That some of the self talk that we do closes us down straight away. The frequency goes straight into that 3D reality, and then we're closed down. And then you can't vibrate, you can't be on a frequency of light and energy, and you can't sort of co-create something when you're shut down. When you're shut down, it's like you're shut down from the source, you're shut down from the sun. And that's what they're saying as well. You know, the universal source is like this sun. It's like the universal central sun that sort of nourishes everything. It gives everything life. You know, it's the source of all life, as the source of all light. And when you're in 3D reality, you're shut down from it, because you're not open to it. You're not on a level of consciousness to receive it, or to open up to the energy. So that's why it's so important to move to 5D. But the only place to do that is from a place of in your inner world. It's very, so they keep saying outer and inner world, like the outer world. They're trying to make it in like very physical terms for me, because it has to be very practical. I mean, I can be quite sort of like, I look at things, and because of the way I've always been, like since 18, I've always seen colours. I've been a healer, and I've always been open, and I feel I've always been a channel. But you know, to what level of that, like what level of a channel, but I've always received it. I've always done videos. For the last like 10 years I've done videos like this for stuff that I receive, and it's about trusting, and it's taken me 10 years to start to really build up that trust. And it's about opening up. You know, it takes time, but it also is, you know, this is what we're here for. This is why we're here. You know, and by sitting in the 3D reality, we're not doing what our purpose is to here, which is to awaken, and is to connect with that source, and is to create with that source. I mean, every single one of our purposes, we have got like an individual one, or like we've got this individual creative spark that we're creating our own little pathways through like the planet, and we're creating our own sort of spiritual realities and visions that we're all doing at the moment. But our infinite purpose is to awaken the planet and awaken each other. Our infinite purpose is that we're all spiritual beings, and we all need to awaken to that source energy and be more conscious and awaken again. Because once we hit that fifth dimensional reality, then we open up to the spiritual realms and dimensions that are far beyond this planet as well. Because they're already there. They're there. And again, actually, they don't resonate with this lower frequencies until our planet shifts. It won't truly open, and the energy grids and the energy lines won't truly open on the planet until we shift to that. So this is why it's so important. You know, and I know what I'm talking about, and I know what I'm talking about is real, and I also know what I'm talking about is right as well, because I just know, I feel it when I'm talking about it. So it's just one of those things, and again, that's where the trust thing comes. I mean, like I said yesterday, I had a word like acceptance, and acceptance is very like letting go, dissolving, releasing, but it's also sort of like harmonizing. You know, it's about like truth. It's about all those kind of things, because acceptance has many different resonance to it, and many different sort of feels to it. But this is what the true message is today: that the outer world is the 3D. Yeah, if you're in that world, and if you're feeling fear, doubt, pain, stress, anxiety, you're in 3D. And in 3D, you're closed. You're closed down. Your energy system is not open, because the energy system the energy frequency and system we need to be on is 5D. So if you're in that, you're closed down. But if you're inside and you're feeling warm, vibrant, and you're vibrating, and you feel energized, you feel light and energy, and you're expressing your light, you're being truthful, honest, open, you know, all those kind of things, then you're entering into 5D. And then you'll start receiving communication. You'll get those answers for those questions that you've been looking for. You'll be getting that guidance you've been looking for. You'll feel you're at the different sort of vibrations of the ascended masters. You'll feel the different vibrations of the angelic beings, the less celestial beings, the universal beings, the universal teachers, the great white brother. All of those connect to the fifth dimension, but they don't resonate or connect to the third dimension. So people that, also, if to a degree, if you feel like you're not connected in that way, it's because you're living in a 3D blueprint, not a 5D blueprint. And that is where, that's like where we're at in our kind of development at the moment. So that's really the insight for today, and I think it's quite a really good insight. I mean, when they gave it to me today, they showed me, you know, that, you know, the 5D, like, because they were showing me like 5D and like 3D doesn't resonate. It doesn't resonate in 5D. What happens, they showed me like the energy goes into 5D, like, so the 3D was like a darker, like a more dense energy, and then it went into this light, like an orangey sort of colored light, that was within myself, and then when it went into the light, it just dissolved, it just disappeared. So I know that was telling me that the 3D reality it doesn't resonate with 5D. It just dissolves it. It just dissolves it. So it was also telling me that remaining in that 5D reality also dissolves and removes pain. It dissolves, removes the pain, the stress, the anxiety, because when you're in it, you're connected, and you know you'll always be supported. You're always trusted. You know, you trust that you're always being guided. You're always gonna, be supported. You're secure. All of those things are in the 5D, which is the inner world. And again, this is where the universal law of correspondence comes in. Inspired action, all of those things are tools to access the 5D, but also access source energy. source energy is the infinite energy, the creative spark, or the infinite sort of creation of all things, and we have that. We're part of that source energy. We are born of that energy, and it sort of like is us as well. I am source energy, and that's why we can co-create with source, because we have that creative spark, we have that creative energy, and this is the 5D blueprint. But I also sort of like with the 5D blueprint, it's about co-creation. But I also feel when I really sort of like connect into it, I'm also being told to like connect into this infinite being that is myself, and opening up and just allowing that being or that source or that energy in myself, within myself, to direct and guide me and create that vision of whatever is needed as my soul's purpose. Because sometimes I think we get caught up with trying to create or co-create as, with our energy, but like from a mental place where we're trying to create from, our intellect, with that co-creation. And what they're saying to me is, when you really enter into that source energy and you enter into that infinite being, it already knows what you need, and it's about you trusting it and letting it do that. And I know what I'm saying goes to the absolute center of my being, because I feel so emotional when I just said that. It was like so much emotion just came out of that. It was like so much shifted in that one moment of what I just said. That infinite being will direct and will bring everything you need, and it's about trusting and allowing it to do. Because that infinite being is already connected to the source, and it will bring in everything you need, and it will work in line with those universal laws. So I just think that what's been given is very practical, but it is also very beautiful. And obviously, I thank the guides, and thank the beings, and the masters who work around us tirelessly to support us and bring us this knowledge, so we can awaken and we can be our true selves, which is what we're here for. Earth is supposed to be this playground, where we come down as souls and spirits, where we awaken and we create again, which is fifth dimension. Is like heaven on earth, and heaven on earth is being in our source energy and creating and being connected to all those infinite spiritual dimensions and realms. That's heaven on earth, because heaven and earth are, the fifth dimension is the portal to being all connected again to these spiritual realities and these spiritual dimensions. And it's heaven on earth is being connected to that infinite source and those infinite realities and those infinite reflections of that source energy. So that's the insight for today. I don't want to go bigger and bigger and bigger, because when I start to get into this, I just get deeper into the energy, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it gets difficult to explain it in a very practical way. This is what I struggle with sometimes. I get, because I'm a clairsentient, and I get like feelings and impressions of energies and things like that. It's very difficult sometimes to explain them into physical terms, because everybody wants it in like an objective, like in the outer world, so they can make sense of it. It's tangible. But that's what makes it difficult, because what we're talking about isn't tangible. It's far beyond that. And that's what makes it difficult.